Today, I want to talk about the difference between getting a job and making money. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because I was in a discussion with a potential client, and he's been kind of freaking out about money for a long time because he lost his job. And he is hoping to get another job so that he will have money. But the thing is that in the meantime, he's really kind of lost and unable to put his vision in place, and he has some ideas that he would like to implement, and he hasn't really been able to find people to work with who are aligned with him on his vision. So, in a way, getting a job is a kind of a compromise or a fallback, but he needs the money, right? And we in the Western world and most of the world, you need some money to go to the grocery store and pay your bills and all that. So, the problem with that kind of thinking is that if you look at a job, and I'm not trying to look down on people that have jobs. A lot of times I wish I had a job instead of always being responsible. But the person in an enterprise that is paying your salary is a rainmaker, or otherwise known as a salesperson. So let's say you're working for a university. There's the rainmakers, there's the whole fundraising department, and also there's the sales and marketing department that gets students to pay for the product of going to college. So, really, in any enterprise, there's usually one or a handful of people that are really responsible for making sure that the money is there that is then used to pay you. And that doesn't mean that you're not an essential part, you're a part of the product. But if we look at what entrepreneurs do, is they assemble different pieces, whether that's the team, whether that's the components of a product, and they're putting everything together so that there is a value proposition. And so it's important, if you want to really have a measure of control in your life, whether you get a job or not, that you at least understand the essence of being a rainmaker. And what that is value creation, using language. And language is a reflection of an aspect of the inner part of who we are, our beingness. And so most people really never cultivate the part of their inner space that leads to powerful agreements. And the powerful agreements is where money flows. You know, we think about, well, we spend money at the grocery store and we buy objects. But when we're talking about the kind of money that's used to pay somebody's salary, again, in a lot of ways, the larger the amount, the more powerful the agreement. So this particular person is very weak on creating financial agreements other than getting a job. And even that has been very difficult. So, of course, that's been leading to stress and all of those kind of negative outcomes of kind of bumping along. So, what's the solution to that? Well, think of it like this. So, riding a bicycle is a knack. Like, you can read about riding a bike and you can watch videos about riding a bike. But if you've never ridden a bike before, you're probably going to have some tumbles in the very beginning, or it's going to be very rough, shall we say. Hopefully, you've got a bike that's small enough that you don't land on the top bar when you're losing your balance. But if you've ever seen anybody learn to ride a bike, it's very wobbly. They're constantly catching themselves on their feet. And then suddenly they get that knack, and a knack is something that is not learned through the mind. Fundamentally, it's an education, but it's an experiential education. And once you have that knack, you never really forget it. You cannot ride a bike for years, and then you get on one and you just go on your way. So this is really one of the things that I'm helping a lot of my clients solve, is they just don't have the knack of making money. And it is a knack. It's an experiential learning where you begin to see where in your inner space, in your consciousness, does that ability to transact live. And it doesn't live in the mind, because the mind is purely informational. You collect information and then you replay it. And really, what's going on when you make a transaction of any meaning is that it's like a tennis game. You're on the court with somebody and you're having this kind of a discussion, in this case, not with a tennis ball, but with words. And through words, you're finding that common commitment. Now, the commitment is the human factor. Money is this tokenization of commitment that humans have invented for variety of reasons. One of the reasons is it's a convenient way to commemorate that moment of commitment. So if you think of that moment of commitment as kind of the moment you learn how to ride a bicycle, now you have balance. And the better you are at riding a bike, the more complicated terrain you can navigate without falling. So if you don't know how to make money, maybe you know how to get a job. But again, a lot of people are terrified and they go into those job meetings really not even understanding where they fit in the value proposition of the enterprise. And when you don't understand where you fit in the value proposition of the enterprise, you're going to get paid less because you're not going there understanding that your job is to create value for the whole. It's just to get a job and get paid. So when you go in, it's like, well, if I get a job, I'll get paid. You're not essentially using that innate ability to have that knack of creating powerful agreements where everyone understands the value being created and what it's worth, and then how that translates into the token we call money. So it's a short lesson, but it's an important lesson. And when you have the knack of making money, you just really never feel that much fear in that area. And because if you want to ride a bike, anytime you want, you get on the bike and ride. And so for me, I don't always have money. I'm focusing on a lot of I know I can make it whenever I want, and in some ways that's allowed me to be kind of lazy in my life, to be honest, because I always know that if I want to reach out, and I've got big mailing lists and all kinds of people I can talk to. If I just want to reach out, I can be a rainmaker again. But I'm looking for something else personally right now. But having that skill has given me the kind of confidence to navigate almost any situation in life, and to also not really put myself in limiting or bad situations just to have money. In fact, a lot of how I became from just kind of good at making money to being a master in a certain way, certainly enough to teach you, if you're watching this video, is this basic fundamental, making mistakes at a higher level. And, so that's a really important thing. And also, I've had people question me, it's like, well, how can you teach everybody? And the thing is that, everybody who rides a bike has to learn how to ride a bike. They get the knack. Do they want to be a mountain biker, cross-country tours, racing? Those are all variations on the same knack. So when you learn the knack of making money, then you might choose whatever path you want to take. And that's why this kind of mentoring that I provide works for all types of people, and it works for all types of businesses and situations, because fundamentally there's not a whole lot of difference when we look at the idea of making money from the point of view of it being a knack. So I hope you got some value out of this video. If you're feeling weak in that area, or you don't even have any idea of how to make money, kind of like you don't have any idea how to ride a bike, you may have read about making money, or you've watched a lot of videos, or maybe even taken courses with people that promise you if you follow their blueprint, you'll make money. But they don't necessarily teach you the knack. They teach you the art of doing. And sometimes that works, and sometimes you'll gather the knack along the way. But again, with my proposal, with a lot of my students, they're getting the knack first, and then from that knack, they see the course they want to take. The next actions become obvious, just like when you're on a bike. You're obviously constantly getting balance. You're not falling over. You're going to your destination and maybe wobble a little bit here and there, but fundamentally you're constantly able to recover that center and go the right way. So That's what we do with all the mentoring I do. People chart their goal. We get started. If they need help with the knack of making money, then we focus on that first. And usually within 2 weeks or less, they're on their way. And it's really exciting for me to see that. And again, if you have any questions, put them below. And if you want to get started right away, book a meeting with me in the notes below. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.